Hey, it's Sparky, Fifer, 1250 AM, The Fan, another edition of Curd and Long. We are out at the Toy Drive, the 17th annual. Man, I'm old. 17 years we've been doing this Toy Drive out here at Blaine's Farm and Fleet in Oak Creek, right there on Rawson Avenue, just a few minutes east of I-94. Come on out, donate online as well, 1250amthefan.com is the best way to do it. If you come out here, you can make a cash donation. If you'd like, and we've done really good in cash donations early on here on Monday morning, recording this at about 12:06 in the afternoon on Monday. So doing good there. Toy donations, obviously welcome. It is a toy drive after all. So you can either buy toys here at Blaine's Farm and Fleet inside Toyland or buy toys elsewhere and just drop them off here in our toy bin located outside the main entrance where we are. That would work as well. All for Children's Wisconsin and Robin's Nest. Robin's Nest, of course, a faction of Children's Hospital, which specializes in foster care that Children's Hospital helps with as well. Joining me on today's Curd and Long episode, because Ryan Horvath is out sick, he is Bart Winkler, our guy from CBS Sports Radio. Follow him on Twitter at Wings Thinks, and of course, the Bart Winkler Show. You can catch that as well wherever you download your favorite podcast at or on YouTube. And Bart's actually going to be making an appearance out here at the Toy Drive as well. Bart, how are we doing today?
Maybe a couple, man. I miss being out there.
Yeah, it's fun, man. It's my favorite week of the year by far. You're wearing is that a Bucks hat, a purple Bucks hat, I believe. I will tell you this little nugget. Having done this for 17 years, obviously the 2 years of COVID, we weren't out here. We were in the studio. But so the 15 years that we were actually out here at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, this is the very first year that I can ever remember seeing what I'm seeing currently. I've been out here since 8 o'clock this morning.
I know where you're going.
I don't know if you do. Since 8 o'clock this morning. Maybe you do. Since 8 o'clock this morning.
More Bucks gear than Packer gear.
It's not even close, man. Like, I've seen two guys wearing a Packer hat. Every other thing I've seen, well, I shouldn't take that back. I've seen one Brewer, one Badger. Everything else is Bucks. Men, women, kids, hats, sweatshirts, jackets, you name it. There's all Bucks gear all the time out here in Oak Creek right now. And only two people in 4 hours have I seen actually wearing Packer gear. I am shocked by that fact, Bart Winkler.
Well, I don't know. Bucks gear might be a little more fashionable right now. Not even like because they're, winning. Packers have kind of been winning. But I don't know. There's something like, I don't know. Bucks gear, I think, is just more like hip right now than Packers gear. Does that make sense?
For me, out here, I mean, you've been out here before. It's an older demographic in Oak Creek that comes to this Farm and Fleet. And I'm saying older meaning like 60s to 80s, maybe somewhere in that area. And
I bet you by the end of the day, you will see a Green Bay Packers 1995 NFC Central Championship sweatshirt by the end of the day.
Yeah, maybe. I think that's possible. I think every year we see one or two of those. People are still wearing that stuff, obviously.
And a 94 Badger Rose Bowl with like a big circle and like the little leaves around it, you'll see.
I'd be more impressed if I saw an 82 Brewers championship shirt or something like that. That'd be kind of cool. I don't think I've ever seen one of those worn by anybody. Even though the 82 World Series was such a big deal around here, I don't think I've ever seen any 82 Brewers World Series stuff worn out and about. Have you ever seen anybody wearing 82 Brewers stuff?
No,
I haven't either. And for as big of a deal as that was, I don't ever see anybody wearing any of that old gear anymore. And I know it's a long time ago. I get it, 50 years ago or whatever it's been. But still, no, something to think about. All right, so Bart Winkler, Curd and Long, got to talk some Packers. And I want to talk about these numbers. Aaron Rodgers versus Jordan Love, because that's what everybody wants to talk about. Aaron Rodgers through his first 11 games, 25.99 passing yards. Jordan Love, same. Aaron Rodgers, 17 touchdowns. Jordan Love, 19. Interceptions, 9 for Rodgers through 11 games. Jordan Love, 10. Records identical, 5 and 6. My question to you is it fair to compare these two through 11 games? Like everybody is seemingly doing on social media and on TV, comparing their numbers. Is it fair?
I think it's fair. I think it's fair. I mean, you have numbers you can compare. So I think, like, yes, how did this guy do through 11 games? How did this guy do? I think you can compare. I think you do have to be you do have to remember, like, these are two different situations still. We do a lot of comparisons about Rodgers and Love. Rodgers should have been the number 1 draft pick in 2005. He was not, and then nobody took him. If we had the mentality of 2023 and had the same kind of athletes as 2005, Rodgers is going 1, and if he's not, he's going 2. So for the Packers to get him at 24, like, the Packers getting Rodgers at 24 is not the same as getting Love at 26. The talent level coming in was not the same. And Rodgers looked great. And Love in some games hasn't looked great. Rodgers was more of a, all right, this is our guy, probably for sure. Let's help him grow. Love is still, is he our guy? Is he not our guy? Is he your guy? Is he not our guy? And there's a big question on, when we're going to pay him and all this kind of stuff. I think it's fair to compare the numbers in terms of their impact with the team. I think it's a little tough to compare, like, where they're at throughout their progress. And I think even if you're going to do that, you got to be happy with what you're seeing from Jordan Love. Okay. I don't know. The thing that I remember the most about the Rodgers years was he would have really good games and then lead a team down, and then they would blow it. And I was getting worked up that year.
So was I.
The defense was blowing games. Rodgers was leading comebacks, looking real good. The defense was blowing games. But even in all those games, we saw a good quarterback. And I think, we'll see what happens against Kansas City, and there's still 6 more games to go. But what we've seen the last, let's say, 3 weeks, month from Jordan Love, like, if we knew this is the guy, there's still room to improve, sure. But if this is the guy, I'm in. I mean, how could you not be? If this is Jordan Love, I'm in. And so that's, I think, what you need to compare is, what are you feeling about the future after those games?
I don't think it's a fair comparison at all. I think it's crap, and I think it's unfair to Jordan Love 10 times over that these numbers are being thrown out there and compared to, because what he's doing, in my mind, is far more impressive than anything Aaron Rodgers did in that first year. And the reason that is because Aaron Rodgers got plopped into a situation to where he was the differing factor. He was the one that had to adjust to everybody around him. Jordan Love got plopped into a situation where he's the only one that knows the offense, and everybody else was trying to figure out what they're supposed to be doing. And you only have to go back and look at Jaden Reed's comments last week prior to this last game against the Lions of him talking about running a route and now playing fast, where before he wasn't sure if he was supposed to do something based on how a corner was playing him or based on what the safety was doing. And he was kind of guessing as kind of where he was supposed to go and was kind of running at half speed to see if he was supposed to be doing it the right way. Now he's playing faster because now he understands the offense. This last week, perfect example, that touchdown pass, that first one that he threw, where, the video of him threading it between 3 guys to Jaden Reed for the touchdown. Jordan Love after the game, Christian Watson ran the wrong route. He wasn't supposed to be there. That crap is still happening, right? When Aaron Rodgers was a quarterback, he had a bunch of veterans that were doing what they were supposed to do. Now, his biggest adjustment was doing it the way that McCarthy and Rodgers wanted them to do it versus, playground stuff like they were doing with Brett necessarily. But still, they knew the offense. Rodgers was the new piece dropped in to a veteran-laden team. That's not the case here. Jordan Love is the veteran, even though he's never, started a full season of knowing the offense, and these other guys are having to adjust. Not to mention the fact you've got an inexperienced left tackle who was a turnstile for most of the year in Rasheed Walker. John Runnion's a horrible right guard. And having to deal with that, Rodgers got put behind a pretty good offensive line when he got in there after Brett. So that's why
his team, yeah.
Right. That's why I think these numbers are an unfair comparison, because everybody's like, oh boy, it's really impressive he's doing what Aaron did. No, it's a hell of a lot more impressive he's doing what Aaron did, because he's working with a hell of a lot less than Aaron had to work with, and he's in a far more difficult situation than Aaron Rodgers was ever in when he stepped in to be the quarterback in his first year as quarterback for the Packers. That's why, to me, this is unbelievable. And if you're excited now, Packer fans, if you're excited by what you've seen now, and I've been saying it all year, no, they may not be great this year, but next year is when this offense is going to take out, when everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. And that's what's going to happen. Next year, this offense is going to be on a different level. Now, I know you're probably going to add another running back or 2 that aren't on this team, so they're going to have to learn their ways. But running backs normally can figure it out quicker because they don't have as many adjustments necessarily as a wide receiver or a tight end of what they have to do. Probably going to have a rookie offensive lineman starting, hopefully not more than one. So you'll have to add that in. But this offense should be playing at a whole different level next year than they are this year. Then you'll really get to see how good these receivers are and really how good Jordan Love is. But now that they're actually running the routes they're supposed to be running and people are doing their jobs, now all of a sudden Jordan Love is able to do his job better. And everybody's like, oh boy, look at how good Jordan Love is. Well, I don't think Jordan Love necessarily sucked the rest of the time, but he wasn't being helped by the people around him, Bart.
No, and if you look back at 08, Rodgers' leading receiver was a 25-year-old Greg Jennings, 80 catches, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, so already an established pro. Donald Driver was 33 that season, but a 33 that was productive, not like if they had Randall Cobb here, 33. 74 catches, 1,000 yards, 33, and they had Jordy Nelson. Even looking back at where Love is, like, this is Love's. So this Sunday's interesting because the Packers are going to play the Chiefs, who Love has already played and started against, right? So that like allure might not be there, but just looking at where Love's stats were in that first game, his top receiver was Randall Cobb, 3 for 50, A.J. Dillon, 4 for 44, Devontae Adams, 6 for 42, Lazard did a 20-yard touchdown, and MVS 2 for 19. So for all of the top 4 receivers, you got Dillon, sure, but the top 4 receivers are long gone, and you've got all these young guys that you're developing too. That's why one of the things that I had said was when they were really struggling is having a young group of guys like this. I think of the Brewers when I think of Braun, Hart, Fielder, Weeks. They can all grow together because baseball is a sport that allows that to happen. Even basketball, I think, is a sport that kind of allows that to happen. Football, it's like, it's really hard to have everybody grow together. And so you were seeing a lot of mistakes. When they do win, then it's really fun to see all these young guys grow together. But it's a lot harder to come in with this kind of strategy. And what the hardest thing to do is to evaluate Jordan Love. Because if you're just going to go straight numbers, I don't know. I have to, we'd have to really do research, but are we accounting for drops? Are we accounting for, all this kind of stuff that we can be accounting for? Even still, Love had some passes that in and out of the hands of guys. And I know that not every ball he throws is perfect, but I do think that we need to get to the point now where instead of looking at his completion percentage or whatever his stats are and saying, yeah, he had this, but here's the 8 incompletions and what he did wrong. I think you look at what he did good or well, and then you say, there's still room for improvement. Like, he will learn how to lead a receiver at a deep ball, which he can throw at some times. Some of these catches will be caught that are not being caught right now. I think, like, what I've been saying about Love is sometimes on the screens, it seems like it might get away from him or tight ends are running the wrong route, whatever. On the deep passes, he still needs to work on some timing with that. And it was good to see Christian Watson take care of his own last week. But everything else in the middle, I'm like, I thought Jordan Love wasn't accurate. He looks pretty fine to me. Everything else, I'm comfortable with him as the quarterback. I'm not like, oh boy, it's fourth quarter, we're down 8 points, we have Jordan Love. No, bring it on. I'm comfortable with that. And I think the Packers, with all that's ever, everything that's happened, have to be pretty pumped about that.
The other thing too is ball placement, and that's something that's been talked about the last couple of weeks by Dan Orlovsky and others. He was throwing balls low, so a guy would have to go down and get the ball, fall down, not get the yak yards. This last week, everything was on the money. He wasn't throwing anything low. He had one ball that was high that Watson went up and got on the sidelines, but for the most part, everything right where we're supposed to be, allowing the receiver to continue to run and get the yard. So that also is good. If you watch that quarterback school, which is JT O'Sullivan, is that who that is that does that?
Packer grade.
That's really, really good. And if you watch this last week's, he shows you that things that he is doing right now is a lot of arm talent stuff that the feet aren't even right yet necessarily on every throw. And that, as he points out, like, Packer fans, you should be excited because he's making these throws and his feet aren't even right yet. Wait till he gets his feet right consistently, and now he can really get something behind it. It's going to make it all the more amazing kind of going forward. How about this? You said he faced the Chiefs once before, but it's all different receivers. Jacob Morley pointed this out from the Pack-A-Day podcast. This was the first game this Lions game, where this offense had seen somebody twice.
Yeah.
So these receivers had faced these DBs in Detroit. This line had faced these defensive linemen in Detroit. They knew kind of what it was and the personnel they were playing. For the very first time, you've really had this all year long, and you saw how they reacted. Jordan Love saying we had their number. We knew how to attack them this time. That's going to be fun to see how this plays out going forward now when you see the Bears again, who you beat once already, when you see Minnesota again, who you played once already, and to see how much better are they going to be when they see these teams the second time around, as far as how these young guys kind of are able to watch that film from the first game and then apply it to the second game. And does that result in wins? You know, that's the one thing is everybody's talking about the Vikings and them chasing the Lions. Look, I mean, the Packers, as they sit right now, are outside the playoffs looking in, and I get it. And I think it should be one game at a time, because odds are this young team is going to stumble in a game they shouldn't stumble, and we're all going to get pissed off. Oh, my God, how do they lose to the Panthers? Or by the way, they fired Frank Reich. Whoever they lose to, they're going to lose to a team they're not supposed to lose to probably on the way out here. That's probably going to happen. But the fact that 2-3 weeks ago, we were talking about, man, maybe they're going to have a chance at Caleb Williams. Maybe they're going to have a chance at Drake May. Maybe they'll have a top 3 pick. From that 2 or 3 weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago, to now sitting here going, hey, they might slide into the playoffs here at the end of the day, is a remarkable turnaround in, 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, I was not on the draft train, although many people that would come on my post-game shows would come on very sad after wins, which flew me off the handle.
As it should.
Because there's a lot of bad teams. And I know Packers are young and sometimes they look bad. There's a lot of teams worse than that. I always thought I said 7-10. Maybe we can go 6-10, like at the beginning. But I always thought this was even with the youth, a 7-10 kind of winning team. When you look at what's the ceiling, what's the floor. Now, when you look at their record now and you're thinking, oh, they're 5-6. Actually, they could have won that game. They could have won that game. And then you start to really think what they could have been. That's where the youth is kind of maybe taking away some of the wins and the, I guess, not immaturity, but, you're still growing. So this is still the best case scenario. We could be talking playoffs, whatever. I think I'm totally with you on the one game at a time. Never do I think, and I've started to have fun with, hey, we're a game out of the playoffs, whatever. But never have I thought when I sit down, we need this game for the playoffs. And never have I thought when we sat down, I want to lose because I want a good draft pick. I just go in to this season, which is different than we're used to, and watch this game and really see the progress and really see them grow. And it's still fun to win. Okay. I enjoy when they win. And I'm really happy that they won, because this game on Sunday, it's a night game against the Chiefs. That's a lot of attention. There's a lot of people watching you. I'm really happy that they had this performance on Thanksgiving when a lot of people were able to see it. And it was, it's at 11:30 in the morning, but a primetime type game where this team has a chance to make a statement. They know eyeballs are on them, and they played very well. I'm happy that the Packers were able to have a win on that showcase, so that if they do slip up against the Chiefs, or I think there's a Monday night game against the Giants that I guess people will watch, they had a performance where you can say, all right, this is good. It's not just highlights. There's good things happening here, and they took advantage of that.
Of everything that I saw on Thanksgiving, the one thing that I question whether or not we will see consistently is the Packers' defensive performance. I just don't know if we'll see that type of defensive performance again the rest of the year. I'm very, very excited by it. Causing turnovers, something this defense has not done a very good job of. Getting consistent pressure on the quarterback, something this defense has not done a very good job of. Rashawn Gary finally had a big game for the first time in several weeks as far as actually getting home and finishing. He's had hurries, but he hasn't gotten the sacks. I don't know if they can do it again. And I definitely don't think they can do it consistently for the next 6 weeks. And if they play like that semi-consistently the rest of the way out, this is going to be a tough football team to beat if they can play like that the rest of the way out. I just have my doubts of whether or not they can, because people forget they won that game without Devondre Campbell and without Jair Alexander, without your best cornerback you took out an explosive Lions offense. That was super impressive. And we all want to talk about the offense of Jordan Love, and I get that. But that defensive performance was outstanding. And my question just is, can they actually do this consistently? And my answer to it right now is I don't think they can, Bart.
Well, what a test they have again on Sunday then against the Chiefs, and an offense that, maybe they're not the Chiefs of yesteryear, but they're the Chiefs of pretty close to that. I mean, they still got speed. They got guys that are trying to grow too and develop. They still got Travis Kelce. They still got Patrick Mahomes. So if they make any mistake, the one thing I know is going to happen on Sunday is there'll be multiple third downs where it's like 3rd and 12 and we're feeling good. And then Mahomes rushes for 16. There will be multiple instances of that. And we know that is coming. I think the thing that would drive me the most nuts is if MVS caught a deep ball and scored. That would actually make me angry. But yeah, it's going to be a good test. We're talking about that Rodgers first team. That Rodgers first team was 6-10, had some defensive problems in the later stages of games. They also had 2 All-Pros, Nick Collins and Charles Woodson.
This Packers team will have none.
Oh God, no. I mean, this Packer team is not even going to sniff Pro Bowl alternate kind of stuff on defense. But they, if they can play like a unit and play that well, there's also a lot of people upset that, okay, well, if we're not going to get a good draft pick, let's be bad enough where we fire Joe Barry. And Joe Barry's got issues, man. Some of the stuff he does, I do not understand. But also, if they keep winning and the defense plays this well, it means that something is working.
He's going to get an extension. Not only are they not going to fire him, if this defense plays like this on the way out, and let's say they make the playoffs, they're going to give him like a 3-year extension.
Get an extension.
Mark my words.
Assistant coach, he'll get a raise.
He'll be the associate head coach, right under LaFleur. So if something happens to LaFleur, he'll be the head coach. That'll really freak people out. Because again, I think Joe Barry gets an extension in the offseason, and I think Jordan Love gets an extension, obviously, in the offseason as well. Then the questions become about David Bakhtiari. Obviously, how much better is this team right now if Bakhtiari plays all year at left tackle and if Aaron Jones is healthy for every game and playing all year at running back? I think that accounts for at least 1 or 2 wins before everything is said and done. Because for the most part, they've been in every game. They've gotten blown out at 1 or 2 games where they had no chance. But for the most part, they've been in every game in the fourth quarter. They've had a chance to win a game. And they haven't been able to get it done. If you have Bakhtiari and Aaron Jones all year, this is a much different team. I think Brian Gutekunst would probably say the exact same thing if he was sitting here.
Yeah, and that's why, at 5-6, even with all that's happened and what you're trying to grow and develop, I saw some people making fun of Packers fans because they get a win on Thursday and we're all like, oh yeah, we're really excited about 5-6.
Yep.
But it's weird. It's weird. I am a championship or bust guy. I want a Super Bowl every single year. Give them to me. I want to be a dynasty so bad, but not every year can be that. And this year is about growth and development and answering the questions you have, especially on offense, but some on defense as well. And I think at 5-6, what have you seen? You've seen Jordan Love with great performance. You saw Jordan Love with a signature comeback. You've seen him be clutch. You've seen everything that you could have wanted from him. And the defense, stepped up. And you've seen good things. And the other day we were doing a post game and started getting into the kicker. And if we're talking about the kicker, things are going all right. If
kicker sucks.
Well, no, he's bad, but he is the number 2 guy after Jordan Love. He's the number 2 guy I guarantee is on this team next year. They're not getting rid of him, unfortunately.
No, but they better bring competition in for him because he was the only guy they didn't bring competition in for this offseason in training camp. The only position on the entire roster that had no competition brought in for him. He was the only one. And that was because of Bisaccia, because he has, a familiarity with his family, yada, yada, yada.
They did kind of want to put Bisaccia's guys in Levitt.
Well, yeah, that was a LaFleur thing because LaFleur was livid if you saw him yelling at Levitt on the sidelines of that game. But I agree with you. But I don't think Carlson makes it through next year if he sucks again. I don't, because at some point Goody and LaFleur are going to step in and be like, okay, that's enough. Because this year it was like, we're not going to win. We know we're not going to win, so it's okay. So he can learn on the job just like everybody else, and we're fine with it. But next year, think about it. If this team wins, say this team wins 8 games, they go 8-9, let's say. What are expectations going to be for next year? Aren't expectations next year now playoffs? Aren't expectations next year 10 wins? Even if you go under 500 at 8-9, I think next year this Packer fan base goes, okay, good. We got our one bad year out of the way. Now let's win the division and get back to the playoffs every year going forward. I think that's how it's going to be, Bart. And maybe I'm wrong, but I think that will be the expectation.
No, I said that this year is about growth and getting better. But then this is a 1 year. This is certainly a 1 year deal. Next year, if they lose week 1, I will be mad that they have one game back in the playoff race. Next year, the playoffs can be more of a possibility. Not that they can't be this year, and it's going to be fun. And, the NFC, that bottom, like bad teams are going to make the playoffs. And I'll throw us in the Vikings. Okay, yeah, they have Josh Dobbs, fun. They could make the playoffs. The Seahawks, one of these NFC South scrubs, could still make the playoffs. Yep. And we're in that mix. So we're all fighting for the right to go to San Francisco and get our butt kicked. But we're in that mix.
And the nice thing is you have tiebreakers against a bunch of these teams already because of winning games. You beat the Falcons already this year. You took care of that job. You beat the Saints. You took care of that job. So if you end up in tiebreakers with a couple of these teams, that means you get to get in the playoffs.
Which one of those teams? I think the Saints beat us.
Did the Saints beat us?
Yeah, they came back against us, and we came back against Atlanta. Or vice versa. We lost to Atlanta.
We had lost to Atlanta. We beat the Saints because they missed the field goal at the end. That's what it was. Yeah.
I just losing my mind because both teams suck.
So either way, my point on all
survivor team, Sparky, 2 red zone turnovers, 5 field goals in the red zone, kind of. Bolt.
Sorry, you're holding on to that still, huh? It's okay.
I found in all the fantasy I play, losing a survivor pool is like the worst feeling because you really feel bad and dumb. And
yeah, I've never done one. I've seen you talk about you doing one. I've never actually done the survivor.
I usually get bounced in week 1 or 2. I've never been in this long, so I was like starting to dream of the money, but not this time.
No, not this time. No. Okay. Talking with Bart Winkler. Follow him on Twitter at Wicks Things. Check out his show, The Bart Winkler Show, of course, on CBS Sports Radio. As well. So I'm just going to put you on the spot because I don't know how many more times we'll have you on between now and the end of the year. Does this team make the playoffs?
I think that they are going to.
Really?
If you're going to put me on the spot?
Yeah. I mean, it's 6 games to go. I mean, the odds of you being right are 50-50 at this point because they literally could go either way. They could easily make the playoffs. They could easily miss the playoffs at this point. So got a 50-50 shot of being correct. But you got a gut feeling that they're going to figure out a way to get it.
I don't have a gut feeling. I have just let me look at the schedule real quick feeling.
Oh, there's nobody after the Chiefs.
No, so let's say you lose to the Chiefs and then take one of your losses. Just take another loss. Say, all right, you're going to lose a game that you shouldn't lose. So that puts us at 9-8.
Yep. That's correct.
Because you got New York, Tampa, Carolina, Minnesota, and Chicago.
Yep. Minnesota is the only one where I think they might lose that one, but the rest of them, they should win the rest of those games easily.
And I'm building in a loss. I'm building in one loss out of those 5 that are bad, but they'll be, Minnesota at home. They'll probably be favored. Oh, that's New Year's Eve night.
Yep.
Oh, that sucks.
Bart, what is this fan base going to be like if they beat Kansas City on Sunday night?
What are they going to be like? Arrogant. We're going to go from like beating a good team to go to 5-6. It was like, oh my God, can you believe this? This is fun. But then if you do it again the week after, well, now let's go.
Now it's going to be, okay, we're going to win the division because the Lions are going to screw this up because the Lions got a couple of tough games still left. And we're going to win the division. And then it's us, Philly and San Francisco. We'll see what happens at the end of the day because nobody believes in McCarthy and the Cowboys at this point. Everybody's going to need to settle down. I'm telling you right now, if they beat the Chiefs, we should celebrate. We should be happy. But let's not be running our mouths on social media about how all of a sudden the Packers are going to do something in the playoffs and so forth. Because again, just like they have to learn in the regular season, this young team, these guys have never been in the playoffs. And Bart will tell you, I will tell you, anybody will tell you, the playoffs are a different beast, a different animal in intensity and everything else than what a regular season game is. So even if this team does make the playoffs, There shouldn't be these grand expectations of they're going to win 2 games in the playoffs and be in the conference championship game or something like that.
No, let them make it and lose 40-10. I don't care. Get that experience.
You say that now. And then when they lose 40-10, you're going to be on your post-game podcast with the Bart Winkler show, just losing your mind that the defense was so god-awful. Joe Barry should be fired. You'll be carrying on. And right now you're saying, oh, it doesn't matter to me. I'm fine. If they lose, that's fine.
A lot of people always say that, like, oh, you would say that. And I'm like, no, you're right. You are right about that one.
Yeah, you would lose it. Everybody's going to lose it if they lose in the playoffs, regardless of what happens. But my God, if he wins 9 games in his first year with what he's got, to Rodgers 6, bringing this back full circle to how we started this conversation, it is going to be fun around here watching the Packers grow. Bart, thank you so much for coming on. When are you on CBS Sports Radio this week, buddy, on 1250 AM The Fan?
Monday, the 27th, which is tonight after we record. Yep. Thursday at night, the 30th. You can catch me on my normal Saturday shift, which has been great because I just watch college football and talk about it. But now I got to actually do some prep. And then Sunday morning before Ion Football, I'll be on.
Yeah, and that won't be on 1250 because we have.
Weekends. That's I don't exist.
BetQL on the weekends. Ryan Horvat Saturday mornings on 1250 AM The Fan with his tailgate to kick off
in the studio
at 8 a.m. Central. Yeah. Bart, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you out here at the Toy Drive. Follow him on Twitter at Winks Thinks. You can follow me at Sparky Radio. Again, Toy Drive going all the way through this Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. each day. I'll be out here. Come out, say hi, talk some sports with you, whatever you'd like to talk about. Drop a toy in our toy bin, make a cash donation, or you can write a check as well, Children's Wisconsin, if you want while you're out here. Or if you want to donate online, can't make it out this week, no problem. Go to 1250amthefan.com. Just click on the Toy Drive story, and you'll be all set. So again, 1250amthefan.com. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one. Live from the Toy Drive. Toodles.